All right, guys. All right, so I think that we are live. Is anyone here? Jessica, can you see the chat box?
I didn't pull up the chat box yet. Still working on that.
Let's see. I think, well, okay, so I see that we've got a couple people in here now.
Oh, awesome.
So it looks like that's starting to go. So if you guys wouldn't mind, if you're already here, will you pop a comment or two in the chat box so that we can see if we can figure out how to see your questions? Let's see. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, chat. Okay, I found the chat box. I'm going to put something in the chat box and you guys let me know if you can see it.
Where did you find this chat box?
In the top left, the little blue.
Oh,
there's a little blue icon.
I see it now. Okay, cool. Perfect.
Okay. So if anybody can see this, will you guys put a comment in the chat box and let us know if you can hear us and if you can see us? I see that you can.
I'm glad I found it.
Okay. So I've got that up, and then hopefully, let's see if other people are starting. And then, okay. And then hopefully some other people will start to filter in here in just a minute. Mm-hmm. So hey, everybody. If you are here, thank you so much. I'm so excited to do this workshop today with Jessica. And we are just really excited to show you guys how to build your own mood boards. And we're just gonna kind of hang out here for a few minutes and wait for some other people to filter in. It looks like we've just got a few in here right now. But if you have not already, will you be sure to click the link in the email that we sent you, make sure that you have your Canva account, and make sure that you have opened up the mood board template. And if you have any issues with that, you can ask a question in the chat box and let us know, and we'll see if we can troubleshoot that for you. Yeah, and if you can, type a little message in there. So far, I have not seen any messages, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear us and you can see me, and that you are here. So, okay. All right, Jessica, do you think we should go ahead and get started, or do you think we should wait on a few more people?
Yeah, let's start. Yeah.
All right, let's get started. So, so hey guys. All right, if you don't already know me, I am Katie from Pop and Gray. I do strategic brand development for creative entrepreneurs and small businesses. And basically that's just a fancy way of saying I do graphic design, but instead of just making things pretty, I spend a lot of time up front on the strategy behind your brand and making sure that any visuals that we create are based around your brand story and your message and your ideal audience, so that they matter and they work, and it's not just to make things pretty, even though it is nice to make things pretty too. So that's me, and if I'm not working, I am probably running around like a crazy person after my two little girls. We do lots of karaoke and lots of dance parties. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell. So Jessica from Charuk Studios is here with me today, and I am super excited that she is co-hosting this with me. She is an awesome photographer. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself too. And why don't you go ahead with that, and hopefully everyone can see you now.
Yes, I think so. I clicked it. Hi everyone, my name is Jessica. I'm the owner and photographer at Charuk Studios. So I'm a brand photographer. That means I primarily work with creative entrepreneurs and other small businesses, and I create custom imagery for their brand. Basically, what I offer is very complementary to Katie, because she's a web designer and graphic designer. It's like when you're a business and you have a digital presence and you have a website and social media, I'm there to help create gorgeous imagery to make you look your best and attract your ideal client. So I've been in business since April 2016, so a little over a year now. And I live in London, Ontario, Canada. So yes, I'm Canadian. And what else? My background, my work background, I used to work in marketing for a fashion retailer, and I studied fashion communication in university. So my background's quite creative, and this is kind of how I chose to go down that path. So yeah, I use mood boards just like Katie in my client work. So I think we're both really excited just to show you how we create them and all the steps we go through and how you can really best utilize it for your own business.
Awesome. So yeah, we are super far apart. I'm down here in the southeast.
Oh yeah,
in Canada. So
Florida, right?
Do what?
You said Florida, right?
No, I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Oh, okay.
We don't officially consider Florida the South, even though they're way down here. They're like their whole own beast.
Oh wow.
All right, guys. So we are just gonna hop right into our presentation. And the chat box will be there the whole time. So at the very end, we are going to answer all of your questions. But feel free to go ahead and put any questions in like throughout the entire workshop, and we will answer them when we get to the question portion. So now that you've seen our lovely faces today, we are going to switch over to the presentation. So give me just 1 second to make that happen. Okay. Can you guys see this?
I can.
All right, Jessica can see it, so we are good to go. So welcome to the official Build Your Brand Style workshop. And I'm gonna let Jessica start us off at the very beginning.
Perfect. So first of all, I'm going to go over what you're going to learn in this 1-hour workshop. We're going to teach you a few things like how to perfect your color palette, how to choose the right inspiration images, how to find typographic styles that speak your language, and how to design all of this together using Canva, because it's free. That means anyone can use it, which is awesome. And basically how you can use your mood board once it's all done and designed.
Awesome. So I know everyone is like really itching. I know everyone's, sorry, what?
This is my slide.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna go into also now. So a mood board sets a guideline for the look and feel of your brand, and it allows you to strategically plan your brand's style and mood. So for example, if you've decided that you want to position yourself as a luxe high-end service, then your mood board is going to look a lot different than if you're a business that wants to be seen as more approachable, mid-range, friendly, maybe like country style. So those are just 2 different directions you can take with your mood board. Mood boards are also very helpful to reference when designing any materials for your business. And it's also something tangible you can give to a designer or a team member to reference. So for example, if you're working with a web designer, you can pass them along your mood board and say, this is the look and feel of my brand and business. Or maybe you're working with someone on your team that is managing your social media and creating graphics for you. So you can also kind of show it to them so they can reference it so that your style is always the same. Another point is mood boards are something super gorgeous to share on social media. Who doesn't love scrolling Instagram and seeing a beautiful mood board and kind of like those keywords that influences a business's style? A mood board also allows your audience to see your style and evaluate if they are, or if you are a good fit for them. So this kind of in return will attract your ideal clients. For example, I just recently shared a mood board and it had bright, bold colors and it was super fun and vibrant. So if a business was more into muted hues and the minimalist approach, they would kind of see that and know that stylistically we aren't a good fit for each other, which is okay to figure that out. And lastly, it's really great to, mood boards are really great to kind of watch your brand grow. And that way you can kind of make necessary tweaks to it as your style changes. And keep those revisions to your mood board because that kind of allows you to watch the evolution of your brand and business.
Exactly.
Next slide.
Yes. All right. So before we get started, I know everyone wants to jump right into looking for images and building your mood board. But really, it's really important before you start to do a little bit of strategy homework. So if you start looking for images first, you're not really thinking through your goals, and it's really easy to just get overwhelmed. There's so many choices and there's no direction. So your goal for your whole mood board is to portray a particular emotion or a mood, duh. It's what you want your brand to really evoke and what you want people to think like as soon as they see your brand. So you determine what mood by thinking exactly who your audience is. So what kind of person are they? What do they really value? What are they afraid of? How can you help them? There's all kinds of different things that you can think about as far as narrowing in on that ideal audience. And just like Jessica was just saying, you know, you're not always going to appeal to everyone, and that's more than okay. That's actually great. Like, you don't want to appeal to everyone. You want to have a more narrow niche. So your goal is to just take your ideas of your ideal audience and your mood and you distill it down to just a few words. What are those brand words for you? What are the main things that you want to really drive home? What do you want to make people think and make people feel? And really just try to play on emotions and senses here. So if just your great customer service is something that is really important to you, well, that's great, but that's something that tons and tons of businesses say. So pointing that out as your main point, like, really doesn't evoke anything in people because they hear that all the time. So like, good customer service wouldn't be one of your brand words. So think through, like, how does that affect people? When you have this great customer service, what do people feel after they go through that experience with you? And that is what you would focus on for your brand words. So once you figure all that out, that's going to help you find your sweet spot. So your sweet spot is really where your goals and your values overlap with what your ideal customers value and what they need to feel. And so that's where you focus. So remember, when you're searching for images, that you are looking for inspiration. You're not looking for something to copy. You know, you're not just like lifting design elements from all different places and recreating them as your own. I mean, one, you're gonna have some copyright issues, and two, that's just really the opposite of your goal. You'll just be making yourself blend right in with everyone else instead of creating something that's you and that's gonna make you stand out. So also, before we get started, you are going to take all that strategy that you were just thinking about, and you're going to figure out how to execute it visually. So once you're sort of clear on the mood you're going for, now you get to do the fun part. And we're going to break your search up into specific types of elements. And so you spend a little bit of time on each one. So there's colors, photography, illustrations, textures, typography. There's all kinds of things that you can do. So I am going to pull up real quick just my Pinterest board that I have used. Just one second. Let's see. So this is my Pinterest board that I created for this workshop. And if you can see, like, there is a large variety of different kinds of things on here. There's a lot of different colors, but as you scroll through, you start to kind of see some themes emerge of, you know, certain colors that are used throughout and certain types of images. So Pinterest is always a great place to start. I'm going to go back to our presentation, but you know, Pinterest is an easy place to start because there are so many images that you can look at. There we go. But you can also just go into Google and start looking for things. You can just pull out a huge pile of magazines and start cutting things out. Inspiration is everywhere. Pinterest just makes it really easy to gather it all in one place. So even if I start in other places, I usually end up moving it all over into a Pinterest board because it just keeps me organized. But as you go through this, just don't think too hard. Grab lots of stuff. If you're on the fence about something, just include it. You want to start with a lot of things and you don't want to overthink it. And then once you start looking through what you have, you might start to see some patterns emerge, and that's awesome. That's what you want to pay attention to. What kind of patterns do you see? Do you see some colors that, you know, look like they could all come together for a particular color scheme? You know, do you see a certain type of image that you keep pinning? So, and you know, you're going to look at all different kinds of things. If you get stuck, you can always look at brands that have a similar audience to yours. So it's not necessarily important that you're looking at brands in your same industry. In fact, it's probably better if you don't pigeonhole yourself into that, but just think through if they are appealing to the same type of person, and that will help you a lot.
Okay, cool. That was awesome. So everyone, after you're done kind of like figuring out your strategy and executing it, the next step in, you know, designing your mood board is going to be sourcing photos to use in it. Some different places of where you can find photos. The first one being Pinterest, which is a super popular resource for if you're looking for any sort of visuals. It basically acts as like a search engine, and it's full of gorgeous photos. You can just only something to note though is that since you're taking these photos and they're just off the internet, you don't actually have permission for usage, so you have to be kind of wary. You can use them in your mood board and use it for inspiration. You can't use this for advertising or selling it. A second place you can find photos is purchasing stock photos. There's lots of big well-known websites like iStockPhoto, Pexels, or Shutterstock. I also know there's several independently run shops and subscription sites, Kate Mac Stock or Twitty Posts. I also sell stock photos, if you wanted to know, at Charuk Studios. Another place to find images that you can use in your mood board is just by reaching out and asking a photographer for permission to use their photos. Maybe you follow someone and you really like their work, or you have a friend that takes photos. Yeah, that's definitely a way to get images to use. Also, maybe you are a photographer, even if just photography is a hobby. Feel free to definitely use your own photos if they are inspiring your overall like business direction. And the last, had a brand photo shoot done and the photos are still reflective of your current style and brand, then go ahead, by all means, use them in your mood board. The only thing is, I wouldn't recommend using them if maybe this photo shoot is old and you're planning on rebranding or going in a different direction, because usually how it goes is you do the mood board first and then you'll get the photo shoot done.
Exactly.
Yeah, but feel free to like substitute an image or two once you do have custom photos done into your mood board, and that way it's going to be truly reflective of your business and your brand. So yes, next slide is basically the importance of using high quality photos in a mood board. You may know high quality visuals are a must. This is because they're going to communicate professionalism and they're going to make it clear to anyone viewing your mood board what elements represent your brand. Just a few things to remember to like how to determine if a photo is high quality or not. The first thing you're going to look at is that it's high resolution. This means you don't want to pick photos that are grainy or pixelated. Preferably, you're going to want to use photos that are photographed on a DSLR camera and not a phone, even though the iPhone 7 does take quite good photos now, so that may be an exception. You also are going to want these photos to be well lit. That means no dark shadows. If there's white in it, you're going to want it to be pure white, not this off kind of gray color. So that means basically you don't want the photo to be over or underexposed. And lastly, you're going to want it to be sharp. That means you can see all the details clearly. And you want the photo to be in focus. This means the subject is kind of like sharp. You can see details. It's not blurry or anything. And sometimes it's a stylistic thing, but if the background is blurred, that's okay. That's just a way you can kind of like photograph something using depth of field. So those are just a few points to look for when you're choosing high quality photos to use in your mood boards.
All right, so now we're going to go through the specific other elements that you're going to look for. So I am going to pull up Canva, and we will start walking through some of that together. Let me make sure I've got that here. So if you haven't already, now would be a good time to open up the mood board template. Okay, so you guys can see my screen, hopefully. So here's your mood board template. I'm going to give you a little time to get that pulled up if you don't already have it. And so we're going to talk about colors. So the first thing that we're going to look for is a color palette. And just like everything else, you have to consider your audience when you're choosing colors. You're not just choosing colors because they're your favorite or you just really think they're pretty. Everything in design is for a reason. And I mean, you can study for years and years on color theory and still be learning new things. So there's definitely not like, oh, blue means this and green means this. And if somebody's telling you that, then they don't really know what they're talking about. There's a range of what all colors can mean. And it is affected by the context. It's affected by what colors you're mixing together, what photos and what typography is with those colors, how strong of a saturation you're using of those particular colors. But in general, this guide just gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the emotions that can be evoked by these particular colors. So that just sort of helps you get started. There's never one easy answer on anything creative. But like I said before, you can always start by looking for some common colors among a lot of what you're pinning. And then just play around, try some different things, and just see what kind of feels right. Like there's a lot of science to color theory, but it's also very subjective. So to pull up Canva for a minute, I went ahead and put my colors in for my mood board, but I want to show you that all you have to do to add your colors to your mood board is just click on the box. And then you're going to click up here where you see it says pick a color when you scroll over that. So you just pick right there. You can choose from some default palettes that are already there. But what I usually do is click on the little button there. You can choose anything in the color wheel and you can scroll it up and down. You can do whatever you need to. If you happen to have Photoshop, something that you can do is if you have a photo or an image with a color that you really want to use, if you open that in Photoshop, you can click on it with the eyedropper tool and it will give you this code right here. And then you just copy that code and paste it and it will give you the exact color that you need. So that is an easy option. Change that back to what I had before. So once you have some images pinned, then you can start to form some colors on the side of your board, or you can go ahead and pop some in and then just kind of adjust as you go, and that's totally fine. Let's see what's next. So Jessica's going to talk us through choosing the photos.
Yeah, so next step, once you've saved like a bunch of photos that you really like and, by looking through stock websites or looking on Pinterest Now you kind of know the colors that you're drawn to. You're going to kind of like refine the photos that you're going to use. So when choosing photos, the first thing you want to look at is the mood, and you're going to really want this mood to resonate with you, all the photos. So for example, maybe you're really drawn to like cheerful, whimsical images, or maybe your style is more moody and edgy, but you're not going to want to kind of clash those two in your mood board. And next thing is you're going to want to pick photos that are similar to the color palette that you've chosen for your brand. So like Katie already said, if you know that you really want to incorporate shades of blue just for the emotions that's going to evoke in your audience, start saving images that have those colors that you like. So maybe pick a bunch of like really soft feminine pastels if that's what you're drawn to, or start finding images that have those like warm, richer hues if that's what you want to choose your branding to be. And then don't pick all the same theme of photos. So if you are only images that show fashion items, you're going to really want to show a variety to kind of like capture the whole essence of your brand. So, just a few different ideas of what you can save are like save images of food, of beverages, of jewelry, shoes. Interior design is always a great one, in architecture. I love when mood boards incorporate paintings and illustrations and textures, even just like nature, landscapes, flowers. Really, nothing is off limits when you're choosing photos for your mood board.
All right, so I'm gonna go back to the Canva board now. So I went ahead and I'll show you. So if you have saved some images into your Pinterest board, you are gonna go down on the left, this button that says uploads, and where it says upload your own images, you just click that. Just save a folder somewhere on your computer with any of the images you wanna use, upload them right into Canva. And I've already uploaded some here and made myself a little bit of a library to choose from. So, I mean, if you look at this, like I have narrowed down, let's pull up my Pinterest board. My Pinterest board had 48 pins on it. So I went through all of that, picked some of my favorites and some of the ones that I thought did the best job of portraying the emotion I wanted, and uploaded some of those here. So now we can get started putting our photos in. And you can play around with that. Like if you just want to grab one, you can just click on it and it'll just throw it on top. And so what you can do is you can put that wherever you want, and you might need to move it around, in the best spots. So you could try it here and see what you think. And then, maybe you decide you have another image that would fit better in this really vertical spot. So, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Hold on. All right. So you just move it wherever you want to take it. Why it's not moving. All right. So we're going to pull that one in again. So I want to put that one over here. And then let's see, some of my other ones I had grabbed. I'm going to go ahead and stick in here. And if you see, like some of these are more for the look and the feel and the mood of them. Some of them really mesh well with the color scheme. And really, building a mood board is fun. It's just pulling all this stuff out and just really deciding like what you want to try and moving things around here and there. So like I like that one, but I think I'm going to swap it and do that one instead. Let's see if I had any other ones. I was gonna put this one in, which I could use a pair of those. Those are nice. And I think as far as photos, I was gonna use this one. I'm gonna move that one actually. All right.
I love how easy this drag and drop is.
Yeah, I mean, you just drag and drop. Unfortunately, I keep putting them in the wrong spot.
No, it's looking good though.
But yeah, it does make it very simple. So I'm going to pull those flowers back in, put those back there where I wanted them. And I'm going to put the placeholder back on there. Okay. So, you know, as you can see, this is just starting to fill in a little bit. I've got some of my consistent colors. I've got some black and whites. I've got some real like emotion evoked in some of these. So that's most of what I'm going to put in there as far as photography. And then what I go to next is choosing graphic elements, which a graphic element is basically anything that's not a photo. You're looking for illustrations, you're looking for textures and patterns. And this is such a fun category when you're searching. I really urge people to look beyond other people's brand boards. I know that's where a lot of people start, and that is a great place to start. But just start searching for random keywords that really could have some cool patterns to them. So fashion is a great place to search. Fabric design is just full of some really cool patterns and some really cool textures. So that's always a really good place to look. And, you know, this is where you can really incorporate thinking about the smells and the sounds and the feels that you really want to evoke in people. So, I mean, a good example is, you know, if you want a brand that feels just really warm and comforting, then, you know, maybe start with a search for some warm blankets and look at the texture created by like a pile of down comforters, or the smell of marshmallows over a bonfire, or, you know, warm hot chocolate. It's like they all, you can just smell them and feel them. And if you start looking for those kinds of images, it'll just lead you down this rabbit hole, and you'll just start finding all kinds of different things. So before I go to typography, I'm going to go back to Canva. So I have pulled in a few images that are more illustrations and patterns. So this one is a really good one. It really incorporates the colors that I want to use in this brand, and I love the texture. And you can make your images, if you just hold the shift key when you pull on these little circles on the sides, you can make things bigger and smaller, and it will keep it proportional. So I love the texture of that, and it's really creative and it looks painted. So that's a really good one to use in this brand. This is one that I pulled that is not pulling in for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Sorry. One second, let me make sure this is working. Okay, let's see. All right, so this is one that I pulled, and this is packaging design, which packaging design is just full of awesome patterns and textures. And this just has lots of really cool illustrations and really bright colors, and it looks really messy and creative. So it fits in really well with this brand. Let's see, some other ones I was gonna put in here. This was another one that just, if you see like a theme emerging, that all of the illustrations that I'm putting in look really hand painted and hand drawn and not too perfect, because that's really the look that I'm going for here. So, you know, that's not going to work for every mood board, but for this brand, it's sort of all coming together and matching really well.
I love how playful it.
Yeah. So it's like just a really fun brand. It just kind of makes you smile.
It really does.
It looks like summer to me. Like it makes me think of summer.
Yeah.
Let's put this.
Or like this looks like a brand board for like maybe like a children's boutique.
Yeah, that would work great.
Yeah.
All right, so that's how I pulled together some graphic elements in that brand. And then so next we jump to typography. So that's something that can just be super overwhelming to anyone. there are so many fonts. There's just tons and tons to choose from. So it's helpful to know before you start searching what the different types are. And just like colors, the context of your typography matters. It's just when it mixes with the other elements of your brand, it may take on a different feel than if it was alone. But in general, just to give you a little bit of a guide, serif fonts are usually more traditional and classic, and are used very often in high-end brands. Sans serif fonts are much more modern and sleek and they can be really thin or they can be really bold. They're usually like one extreme or the other. But though like a thin sans serif could also be really high end, just like a serif. So, you know, you can use them in all kinds of different ways. Slab and semi-serifs are kind of somewhere in between, but they're often a little bit more masculine than the others. And then when you get down to the script and the hand-lettered fonts, they are really great for using in very small doses. And they add lots of personality. They can range from just super fancy to really casual and whimsical. And I love using script and hand-lettered fonts, but the mistake that I see a lot of people make is that they want to use them everywhere. And you really, really have to be careful if you're using that kind of font. They can do great things for your brand for adding personality, but they can also do a lot of damage if you use them all over the place and they're not readable. So just, you know, look for the fonts that you like, that evoke what you want them to evoke, but then step back and make sure that you can actually read what you are writing, because that's pretty important. So let's hop back in Canva. And so the only typography example that I pulled for this mood board is this script, which we're going to put right here. And it just gives you kind of an idea of just sort of a very casual, very whimsical, hand-lettered looking. It just looks like you wrote it with a pen or a marker. So
it suits the mood so well.
Yeah, it works very well with like the real casual illustrations and the fun pictures. And so it all blends together. Everything works. Like, I mean, a really traditional serif font, it just wouldn't make sense with this brand. So that's what you have to think about. Like, and it's good to pop things in, try them, see what they look like. If it doesn't work, take it out and try something else. But it makes it a lot easier to make your decisions when you can look at it all together, rather than looking at your typography all alone and looking at your colors all alone and your photography all alone. It's hard to make those decisions if you're not looking at them as they all fit like pieces of a puzzle.
I love this. Love this finished product.
I do too. I want it.
I know.
So if you guys have made yours, if you've been doing yours as we've been going along, all you need to do is just click this download button, and you can save it. I would save it as a PDF or print. You can save it as a JPEG, and then you can share it on social media if you want. And you can just download it straight to your computer and use it however you want to use it. So let's hop back over here. We've done typography. So yeah, the next thing is just, what do you do with this? Like, yay, now you have this great mood board, and that's awesome, and it's beautiful to share on social media, but now you actually have to use it. So what I tell people to do is build this mood board, and then if you already have a current brand, this is a great way to evaluate what you have. And it keeps it objective and makes it so that you can evaluate, do you get the same feeling when you look at your branding as when you look at this mood board? And if not, then why not? And what needs to change in your current branding to give you the same feel? And so that's what you're looking at. You may not need to scrap everything. You know, some people have this idea that if they rebrand, they have to totally start over from scratch, and it's just so overwhelming and just daunting. But that's what the mood board is for. If you look at this mood board and you say, well, I mean, it's close. Like I feel that a little bit, but maybe not quite as much as I would like to. Well, then maybe you just have some small tweaks to make. So let that mood board work for you to figure out what elements you need to change. And then the great thing about a mood board is that it can grow with you. It's not a static thing. It's not something you're going to do once and never look at again. As your business grows and as it pivots in different directions throughout the years, which, I mean, if anybody's followed me, I have pivoted my business like three or four times in the past like 6 years. I mean, it just, things change. You just keep, you keep moving and growing, and that's just the name of the game. So I just would suggest keeping it handy at all times, update it through the years, and always, always reference back to it anytime that either you are creating something for your brand or you're hiring someone to create something. Make sure that you guys are referencing the mood board. Because the only way that you gain trust with people is by being consistent. And you don't want people confused and saying, well, this looks really upscale and really high end, and then this looks like really whimsical and fun, and which one is the real person? So you don't want them asking that question.
Mm-hmm. I love that point about building trust by being consistent. Yeah. I think it's really important
to build trust, like, so don't make your visuals like a whole nother question with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys, we would love to, we will stay here as long as you want us to, answering your questions. So we would love if you would just type into the chat box any questions that you have. As you think of them, we'll give you guys time to think, and then we will circle back and answer any questions that have come up.
Mm-hmm. Especially if this is like your first time using Canva, because obviously learning a new program can be a bit difficult sometimes. So if you have questions, definitely let us know.
So, and I am going to pop out of the screen share now.
Oh, wait.
What?
Oh, do you want to show the slide about?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hi. I'm going to pop back out or back into the screen share. Okay. So yes. So.
Yeah. So guys, now that we've now that Katie showed you how to design this super gorgeous mood board. What she's been working on is basically she's opening a template shop, and she's designed, you can see, a very gorgeous template to go, like a brand template to go with the mood board we just showed you. So her template includes a logo she's designed, a color palette, coordinating fonts. Yeah, and it matches so nicely, so beautiful. And in addition to her brand template, I have also styled and photographed coordinating stock photos to match the mood board and the brand template. So together, all these visual elements, can be used in numerous areas for your business. Once you have like photos that match like your mood board, that match your logo, yeah, you're kind of all set to have a killer website and killer marketing materials. Yeah, we kind of wanted to show you this because it's so cute. This is just actually one example. We actually have a few of them that Katie and I put together.
Yeah. So exactly that's what Jessica is talking about. There is a new semi-custom brand shop. It's called Gray to Go. So it's going to be part of Pop and Gray. So like once you have this great mood board, maybe you don't have the budget for a fancy designer, or you're just not sure if they're going to get it right. Semi-custom branding might be just what you need. So these brands are all pre-designed, so you know exactly what you're getting. There's no anxiety about like, oh, well, what if I don't like what they do? And each one will provide information on the type of audience that it is built to attract. And that helps you because you know that you can choose wisely. You know that you're not just willy-nilly picking a brand that you just think you like. You are actually going to choose something based on who you're trying to attract. And these brands, instead of going through the 6 to 8 week timeline that is typical for a custom brand, these will be ready to launch in just 2 weeks. So if you buy one, then you just fill out a form, tell me exactly what revisions you would like seen. And those revisions will get made so that it is tailored exactly to you. And so that's what it means by being semi-custom. It's not like you're going to buy it right off the shelf. There's still some work that has to be done to get it to be exactly right. But we're about 75% there before you even start. And then one last thing about the Gray to Go brands is that they will only be sold one time per industry, because it's just not fair to anyone if you invest in this great brand and then your competition has almost the exact same thing. So that's not going to do anybody any good. So, like if a photographer buys a particular brand in the shop, then it will then be closed to other photographers. So this is just sort of a quick glimpse of some of them. If you want to view the full brands, you can view all of them at www.popandgray.com/semi-custom. So yeah, I would love for you to take a look at those. And Jessica, you want to talk about your photography, or do you want me to go through this?
Maybe go through this one, and then I'll jump into like benefits and the stock and all that. Yeah.
So yeah, just real quick, the semi-custom brands include a primary and a secondary logo. They include a custom color palette. And with that, you'll get like all of the different types of color formulas for that. So you'll know the color formulas for web and for print and for spot colors and everything that you would need, everything that you would typically get with a custom design. And then you get 2 font suggestions, 2 custom designed repeating patterns and or just textures that will go with those. And those are things that you can use anywhere. You can use those on your website. You can use those on social media. The files will be good enough size if you want to print them, if you want to, flood the back of your business cards with these patterns. And then you'll get instructions on how to use those files. So they don't do you any good if you can't use them. But so you'll know exactly what you can do with those. So typically these brands are $8.99. For the workshop attendees, you are going to get $200 off. So if you want to grab one of these, they will be $6.99 for you. And that deal is only good until Monday at midnight. And I'm going to let Jessica talk about, she has an extra bonus she's throwing in for anybody who buys these brands.
Yeah, so when Katie approached me about kind of like collaborating with her on this, I kind of designed custom like stock photos to match these different brand templates. So until Monday at midnight, you also get 5 coordinating stock photos from Charuk Studios to go with your brand templates you purchased.
Yeah, and if you go to the popandgray.com /semi-custom, you can see all of her photos. The photos with each brand are up there, so you can see what goes with what.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump into the benefits of purchasing pre-made templates and stock photos. First of all, most of you probably watching this, you're a business owner, so you don't have time to figure out how to DIY all these graphic design elements. I know I don't, I'm not that great at it, so working with a designer that knows is amazing. It's gonna save you so much time and a headache. Same thing with stock photos too. It takes so much time just to like source the props, style everything, take photos, and then you have to go through and retouch it all. So the whole process, if you do it yourself, it takes a long time. So buying something that's pre-made that, it's going to be a lot more affordable too than something custom. And that kind of leads into the next point is that we both offer custom services too, but this is a much more affordable price point than the custom work we do. So if you find one of these brand templates with the coordinating stock photos and you're absolutely in love with it, this is so on brand for you, then this is kind of a great solution because it's already made and you don't have to worry about yeah, I guess making that larger investment. And as Katie said too, to kind of make the tweaks to the pre-made brand templates only takes 2 weeks. So this turnaround time is super fast. Everything is basically all ready to go. Another point is that you can always add on custom design or custom photography work at a later date. So if you are new in business or you're rebranding, this is like a great starting point. And don't think that, oh, if I already, invest in this, these pre-made things, that I'm not going to need anything else down the line. Like if you want to grow and evolve, your designer or your photographer, what you're working with, and they can kind of take inspiration from that and definitely add on. And lastly, another benefit is obviously you're going to have a very professional and beautiful brand presence, and who doesn't want that? And when you have a presence that you feel really confident in, this is really going to help your business grow. People are going to be drawn to it. They're going to take you seriously, and you're ultimately going to attract your ideal clients.
Yeah, that's so true. I have found that confidence is a huge thing. Like, just building out all this stuff and having professional photos, and it just makes you feel so much better. And then when you feel better about what you're doing, more clients just seem to gravitate to you.
Yeah, definitely.
So we are going to circle back and answer some questions, but I just want to let people know, if you do decide that you are in love with one of these brands and you want one before we hop off this webinar today, then you will also get a free brand strategy session with both Jessica and me. So we will schedule that with you afterwards. We'll hop on Skype when it works for all three of us, and we will be all ears, for whatever brand questions you have. We'll help you work through any of those. So that's just an extra little thing. If you see one you already like, that's just one extra thing that you can get at the same time. So
yeah,
now
I think that's super handy too, just because when you're buying all these like new things to use for your business, it's really good to get like an expert opinion of like how to best utilize it. Like how can I incorporate the stock photos throughout my business and branding, and like how can I resize a logo? So yeah, the strategy session is awesome because you get us one-on-one to like answer all those questions.
Yeah, definitely. And even just like the best way, there's a lot of files in the brand templates that you could utilize really well on your website, but not everybody's sure exactly how to do that. So that would be a good use of that as well. Let me come back here and now see if we can
stop the screen share.
Yeah, get out of the screen share.
Perfect.
Here we are, and see if we have any questions to answer.
Yeah. Well, when you're waiting for some questions to come in, I have a few too, just to like go over, because I feel like people might be wondering this as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So, they're $8.99 regularly, and with this special going on right now, they're $6.99. So I'm just curious, like, how much does custom branding usually cost?
It can really vary, depending on, there's tons and tons of designers, so everybody's kind of all over the place. But in general, I would say full brand development could range anywhere between about $1,500 to $6,000. My brand development packages are $2,850. So they can be just about anywhere. So these are like significantly less than half of what I would normally charge.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah. That is. And really same question for just brand photography. Like typically, what would that cost?
That ranges too, but that can be anywhere from like $1,000 up to like closer to $5,000 if you want to film as well. Yeah, just because of all the planning that goes into it and the time for retouching, and then of course commercial use, because the photos aren't sold multiple times when they're custom made for you. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And could you talk too about like all the different ways that you could use some styled stock photos? Like what could you do with those?
For sure. Should I click to my screen? Does that work?
Yeah, see if that, hopefully it'll show you.
Okay, I'm back again. Yeah, so I think with stock photos, there's just so many different ways that you can use them. Okay, so for starters, on your website, there's a lot of different places. A lot of websites will have those like big banner images at the top, kind of where you want to put like those hero photos. Yeah, they're great for there because you want to incorporate lots of visuals on your website because that's going to make it fun and eye-catching. You don't just want to have, just like type and written stuff.
Right.
It's also great if you have like a blog and you have a sidebar and you have like different buttons, like maybe for archives or for like the About Me or shop here, whatever you have on your blog. And you can kind of like take the stock photos, crop them to whatever size you want those buttons to be. And you can kind of like put the little label on. So then you have all these coordinating buttons that like match each other and they're still in line with like your website's like color palette and brand direction. So that's like another thing you can do.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah. Other things too, like there's so many different social media platforms that businesses are on now. Stock photos are great for, when you have your Facebook page and you have that big cover photo, they're great for there. And then like a lot of people will do the little profile photo, they'll either have like a headshot of them or they'll have their logo. Yeah, but for the big banner photo, you don't want something, I would say, you probably don't want to put a photo of yourself there and it's not the best place to put your logo. So yeah, putting like a really eye-catching image there is definitely good. Where else? Instagram. So what I do personally is I have stock photos that I've shot and used for my business. And I have, what I've done is I have like very full styled stock photos and I will crop them down into maybe like, take one image and crop it into 6 smaller images. And then I'll just kind of like disperse them throughout my Instagram feed. So you'll see these like kind of recurring themes, like it could be like a styled desktop and you see like bright pink peonies and you see like my laptop. And it's kind of like a nice way to kind of keep that consistent throughout when you're like scrolling down. Yeah, you can also use them. I will blog a lot and I'll share my blog posts on Pinterest. So again, stock photos, keeping that consistency throughout. I will write the blog post title on a stock photo, and then that way, when I'm sharing it, they're all gonna like look really similar and kind of just keep everything on brand, and like people are gonna want to repin it because like you have this really gorgeous photo.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So those are just a handful of the ways.
I love the idea of cropping one image to like 6 different images. I mean, I know everybody's looking for things to put on Instagram, and it's such a struggle to like constantly be posting. So that's an awesome way to reuse like one image a bunch of times.
Yeah, because like say for these packages you get 5 images, but if you're able to crop one photo into like 2, 3, 4 plus smaller photos, then you're really going to maximize them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah. Here, should I go back to you now?
If you have more questions.
Yeah. Also, another thing is just like going back to the brand templates is, I guess, because you have logos kind of subbed in already, but like how do you modify that for the different business names that you're gonna get?
Yeah, so that's going to depend on which brand is chosen. Some of those brands are actually hand lettered, which is why there is a 2-week turnaround on these, and it's not like, oh, you're getting everything back tomorrow. So there is still some work that's going to go into those to adjust it to another business name. So some of them will have to be like really completely recreated to fit the new word. And other ones will be easier because they're using a font that's a little simpler. But it'll depend. I mean, they may look a little different because, some business names are shorter or longer, or if you want to incorporate a tagline that maybe the proof didn't incorporate, then that's fine. That's all part of the process. So we will make it work for whatever name they need to work for.
Nice. So are there any other questions we should go over?
There's nothing else I can think of. If there's nothing else you can think of.
Yeah, no, I'm good. And yeah, but guys, feel free to reach out to us if you do have any questions regarding photography or branding or this
Absolutely.
Like template special that we have put on for you guys. That's available until Monday at midnight.
Yep. And I will send a replay link out later, so you guys are welcome to watch this again if you are still working on your mood board and you need a refresher on like how to put things in Canva, or you just need a little refresher on like what elements you should look for and that kind of stuff. Like, feel free to watch this as many times as you need to watch it. And if you have any questions, like, shoot me an email. I'm happy to help you. If you have a specific question about something you're looking for or trying to do and you're not sure if it works, you can email me at katie@popandgray.com, and I will do my best to help you out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It was nice seeing all of you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, this was fun.
Thanks for working with you on this, Katie. So fun.
Thank you so much, Jessica. This was awesome. And yeah, well, I think we're ready to sign off here. But if anybody has questions, feel free to email us, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.